Hey everybody. I don't know how many people are going to join because I kind of announced it late. Like I was, used to go on, I supposed to go on Tuesdays, but I was working yesterday. So today we are going to talk about Looksmaxxing and some other stuff. It's going to be interesting. So I'm going to roll the intro per usual. Whoops. And then I'll be back. So I'll see you in a minute. Whoops. Maybe it's if I can find it. That is, I'm always having trouble. I'll explain a little bit more about that in a minute. Why I have the trouble. Okay. Bye. Boom! Let's do this. Okay, hey, here I am. Welcome to Candor with Katie. So the reason why it's harder for me, and I've talked about this before a little bit, but I go live on Facebook every Tuesday, sometimes Wednesdays. Thanks for allowing me to not be perfect, but it's hard because I have to have all the stuff ready, and then I've got to add the stuff to the stage and all this. And I don't have assistants or anything. And I'm not in the place to hire anybody right now, but it would be amazing. I'm like, a lot of the people have like people that do all this research for them, and they do scripts and they do editing, and I do it all. So this is a fascinating topic. Okay, let me talk about this a little bit. It's called Looksmaxxing. So it's an internet trend built around the idea. Okay, oh wait, let me put the title across here really quick. Looksmaxxing. Are we ever enough? Now, if you have heard of Looksmaxxing before, drop in the comments some eyeballs or something, or glasses or something. Oh, that I was gonna yeah, I just told you that. So it's gained a lot of attention over the within the last year for sure. So it's an internet trend built around the idea that attractiveness can be optimized almost like a science. Okay. So like last week I talked about AI and people having relationships and marrying and stuff, AI and stuff. Okay. Well, it's about basically, it's like a science because people focus on improving their appearance through things like grooming, fitness, skincare, fashion, body fat reduction, even cosmetic procedures. You might think, well, what's wrong with that? Well, technically nothing until you take it too far, right? So some of it is pretty normal. But I mean, we all want better haircuts, better skin. I got to color my hair, right? Teeth whitening maybe. I think I'm in my third week of the castor oil and the gua sha. So I have this handy dandy little thing. And you should be proud of me. Only 2 times have I missed actually doing this in the morning. And so is that Looksmaxxing? No, because I'm not taking it to the extreme. And as a matter of fact, I'd rather not do surgery or synthetic things placed into my face or anywhere else, So there's a more extreme side to this, which is what I'm getting to. So jaw surgery, fillers, implants, facial reconstructing, and even limb lengthening. And that, for some reason, that creeps me out so bad. So we're going to get into that. So it starts as self-care, okay? But then it turns into this competitive, mostly facial analysis, but like analysis of everything. And constant comparison. And so like I'm relating it to like science and AI because it's like online, it's in the social medias, all that stuff, comments. I bet it's Pam. Oh, it's not Pam. Michelle, no, hi. I'm so proud of you. I am staying the same bog witch as always. Oh, Michelle, you're amazing. I love you. I miss you. Thank you for being here. That's amazing. You just made my day for real. So yeah, it's tough, right? Because I've got the lines. You got this, and people say, oh, okay, they're just fine lines. They're not like wrinkles until you do that, really. So it's like, okay, I feel a little better about it, but I can't bring myself. Thanks for saying that, Pam, because I can't see the emojis while I'm live. So for those of you on YouTube, live on Facebook, I upload later. So like and subscribe. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so at some point, self-improvement becomes people just examining each other's bone structure and everything like archaeologists, you know? And so it starts with this online attractiveness scale. So I'm going to, oops, sorry, I went to the wrong place here. I'm going to add this. So I got my information from here today. And just remember, by the way, all of this is just for fun. I'm not, don't take my word for it for everything. This is just my speculation on things. Okay. So I got this information from here. And so this is what this is. It's the online attractiveness scale. So it's basically, sorry, God, it's basically on a scale from 1 to 10, except I think the Looksmaxxers only go to 8. Okay. So Michael Dickens says, what about Eatmaxxing? Yes, please. Or glute-maxing. And another, yes, please. Some might say I'm a glute-maxer. I'm just saying. So it's this whole rating system. Okay. So like 1 to 4 being below average, and then up to 9 and 10 is the exceptionally attractive. Okay. So then, this is how, okay, I'm going to show you this because those of you that know have been with me for a while and have been guests on my show and seen me interview people, I love doing like the wiki how to, like fun games where it's like, hey, what are they explaining here? But they actually have a wiki how to about this scale and like the attractiveness of people and like the names they call them. So I'm going to add that to the stage right now and then I'll show you. Okay. So I think I have to go to the beginning. So what does Chad light mean in Looksmaxxing? Okay. So I want to make sure that you guys are seeing this. Okay, good. What does Chad light mean? So, it's all these different terms. Okay. So yada, yada, I'm going to skip most of it. So basically Chad light is a very attractive guy on the Looksmaxxing attractiveness scale. They're generally seen as guys who have model level attractiveness with strong bone structure and facial symmetry. Okay. And then they say this gives them an advantage in life. In finding romantic partners and things like that. Okay. The PSL scales rank from 1 to 8. Okay. So I was right. Looksmaxxing is 1 to 8. Sorry, I get confused. And so they would give these guys a ranking of 6.5. So the people that they said, hang on, are most like these guys. I'm going to share my screen. Oh, sorry. No, I'm not. I'm going to do this. Are these guys. So Cillian Murphy, who I don't find he's not my most attractive guy. Taylor Lautner, yes, that's a very old picture of him. And Chris Evans, because, and then if you'll notice, like, especially Taylor and Chris, they've got what they call the hunter eyes. I see a comment from Michael Dickens, so I'm going to bring that up here in a second. And that's the thing where it's like, I've got hooded eyes. So, whatever. I try to do little massage things. But it's like these lowered eyes in the guys where like they're just this rugged, like hunter type, I guess. So Michael says, beauty's in the eye of the beer holder. You need to be a constant commentator here. It's awesome. And that's absolutely true. All right. So these guys are what they call the Chad lights. Okay. So now I'm going to go back to sharing the screen there. It's really hard for me to go back and forth. Okay. Are you seeing this? No, you're not. Yes, you are. Okay. So then the next is better Looksmaxxing. They're called a Chad. So everybody that's a Chad is usually reserved for the highest level of attractiveness on the PSL scale, but it's only a 6.5 or 7. So if you, I'm going to remove this really quick. If you think about these guys, it is, okay, it's a guy like Henry Cavill. Okay. Yes, please. I mean, he's an attractive guy. Okay. So they talk about the bones, the jawline, the bone structure, all of that stuff. Okay. So then, what is it considered when it's a girl? Okay. So now I got to keep going back and forth here. When it's a girl, they call them, oh, by the way, sorry, there's a Giga Chad. Okay. This is like best looking, and then True Adam or Terra Chad. And I don't have any examples of either of these. And that's supposed to be just like the perfect 8 or whatever. And 8's my favorite number. So I don't know what that kind of a guy would look like. And then they have all of these terms. So imagine that you are going to hang out with your friends or something. Okay. And then you're going to hang out and they call you one of these. So an LTN means low low tier normie. So normie means like you're a normal person, whatever. LTN's on or a 1 to 3. So you can look at this, right? So then MTN is mid tier, and then HTN stands for high tier normie. So high tier normie would be just below the Chad or the Chad lights. I mean, like, first of all, who thinks of these terms? Okay, it's weird, but okay. So he is perfect. Yeah, I'm assuming you're talking about Henry Cavill. Yeah. All right, I'm going to change my background again. I put a new one in there because this is always like hard to see because it's such a busy background. But let's see if that worked out. Oh shoot, I was trying to make it say Candor with Katie at the bottom. All right, anyway. So then they have the girls they're the Stacys. And this is the version that would be the highest level of attraction, which is only a 5 to 6.5, unless you're like a Henry Cavill type. Okay. So then those people are, which now I got to show you, remove this, add this back. The Stacys would be these ladies, who I think look exactly the same. I actually didn't know who they were. Look them up. Adriana Lima. I think they're all models or something. Okay. And then just a Becky would be like a normal girl, just mid-level. And then they have horrible things like subhuman, which, you're just lower than the low. You don't even make it on a scale of anything. And then they have, I think that's it. That's it. So like, can you imagine you're just walking up to your friend and then they call you one of these things? It's like, it's weird. It's very weird to me. I'm sorry. Okay, so then they have this jawline obsession. Okay, so now I'm going to share this one. I'm going to take that off the screen. Okay. So if you look at these, and then hopefully you'll be able to see all these. It's a whole bunch of different jawlines. Oops, nope, I still have that up there. Hang on. See, I need help. Okay, stop sharing. Can you see it now? No, you can't. I guess you can just look at me for a minute. Jawline obsession. I see a comment. Okay, do we see this? Yes, we do. Okay, so you can see all this stuff. Let me pull up a comment. Okay, Michelle Null says, this whole rating system is nonsense. There are gorgeous people who have nothing to offer and unique people who are unique and interesting. Your face is always the best face for you, no matter who you are. And I could not have said that better, Michelle, because I just find, okay, so all the surgeries and all the things that people are doing now, they all look the same. Like, what happened to the uniqueness? What happened to be in being an individual? I know I'm 87% Scandinavian, so I know I look more Scandinavian. I would rather look more Scandinavian than mold myself to look like everybody else, right? It's weird. They're doing such weird things. Oh my God, I should start sharing some of that stuff. Okay, so this is the thing with the jawline and stuff. They're just so obsessed. So hopefully you can see these because there's just some weird ones in there. I don't think you can see. So the top left up there, if you can see that. I don't know if you can see my cursor. I'm circling it. Like, look at that jawline. Okay, so that's okay. I mean, I'm not saying it's bad. There's the clavicular guy I'm going to talk about in a minute. And there's just, if you look at all of these things, like, look at this. There's all these pictures, face gains. There's a funny guy right there doing his chin back. And there's been people like another YouTuber here, this Curtis something. I like this guy too. He did it for 7 days. So is that like a real thing? So I'm going to show you some examples at the end where people the befores and afters. I'm not so sure that I like believe it, right? So Michelle says surgery people are scary. Exactly. They do this thing in Asia. Now watch this. So look, like they do this face pulling thing. How does that look? Do you think that would be like a new and improved Katie Horgan? I don't think so. It's just weird. Okay, so now I've got my trusty friend Pam. I wouldn't kick him out of bed for eating crackers. Old 70s time. I'm assuming you're talking about Henry Cavill. I mean, who would? No matter who you are. Michelle says, yes. Yeah, exactly. Okay, I lost my train of thought. Okay, so this obsession is crazy. So there's a guy named Clavicular, and now I'm going to show you a clip from TikTok. And it's going to be very short because last week I got dinged for having content that I shouldn't have, so I had to kind of fix it. Pam says, how can you have a new and improved Katie Morgan when you're so awesome? And anyway, I know, right? Well, I don't have that job, but listen, gua sha on this might be helping. It's just not maxing. Okay. And I know. Thanks, Pam. You're the best. Okay. I'm going to share this because what he did, now I'm going to show you a picture first because this is him and he's only 20 years old, you guys. He has been taking testosterone and a whole bunch of things. I can't think of steroids since he was 14. So he has been doing it so much, and he was ordering it online, like just ordering it online. He's been doing it so much that he doesn't, his own body at 20 years old doesn't even produce testosterone anymore. It's insane. And I think that this guy basically, he's done surgeries, he's done fillers like Botox. He did this weird injection thing to lower his eyes to the hunter eyes. And it's like the Looksmaxxing people do not care what lengths they need to go to in order to be the best looking. They don't care. It's surgeries. He was going to have a double jaw surgery. I think he's changed his mind. But this is him, and then I'm going to tell you a little bit more about him. Okay, so this is him here. And then I have that TikTok thing on there just to remind me to share it. So here it is. 1 second. Isn't that fun? See, I mean, you get to look at me the whole time while I'm finding it, not an image file. I wish there was a faster way. I wish like StreamYard had like a faster way of okay, hang on. Can you see this? Hang on. Let me make sure it's on the screen. Okay, so you see what he's doing there? So I'm going to show you just for a few seconds. I'm going to rewind it again. Look what he's doing. Okay, look. He's smashing his face. And you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to look this up, and I meant to because I'm crazy. That is called bone smashing. And so it's Wolf's Law, which is basically you put enough what is it called? Pressure or whatever on a bone. And then like if you break your bone, for example, and then you heal it, you wrap it and heal it and stuff, then it grows back more dense or whatever. So they're trying to increase their cheek size or their jawline or whatever. And there's some really creepy things out there. I don't have all those pictures right now. But Pam says, has he done mental health therapy? And I don't think so, to be honest with you. I mean, I don't know. He's definitely autistic. He's on the spectrum. And he doesn't have, it's really kind of sad. I encourage you guys to look it up because this is my opinion and my opinion only. He doesn't have emotion. He doesn't look like he has any fun. He was staying up. He's on this thing called Kick and he streams 24/7. And I'm not sure he does now because what's happening with him now is allegedly he has a DUI, allegedly has run over a guy with a Tesla. Now, whether they have video footage or not, you got to say that. Allegedly injected a girl at his own house with his parents there with fat burners in her face. And it had the thing in there that starts with an M and looks like a blue pill, like on Breaking Bad. And she didn't know it. So she's suing him. And he supposedly OD'd on the blue pill because he live streamed. And that's the last time. And then he got kicked off YouTube. He had a couple of YouTube channels and he's banned, I think, for life. I think he's still kick streaming. But supposedly he said now that he has been clean and sober. And he was using this stuff also. He was using it as fat loss and to keep his appetite down and in order to talk to people. And he would just go out. And I mean, it was just crazy. So Sylvia says, I'm so tired of people amusing people. What does that do for you? Focus on yourself to all. Enjoy your life and don't worry about their stupidity. The world has become cray-cray. I know exactly, right, Sylvia? And I meant analyzing. Oh, okay, gotcha. I mean, that makes sense. People analyzing people, exactly. I mean, that is the thing. So clavicular on top of it. So here's a picture of him again, okay? He is basically like his real name's Brandon Peters. He's only 20, like I said, and he's one of the biggest faces, if not the pioneer of Looksmaxxing. So people focus on their extreme self-optimization, like facial analysis, masculinity, appearance rankings, like I talked about. And his rise online is quite controversial because of the things I just told you about, right? And so he advocates for highly dangerous practices to altering his physical appearance, like I've already told you, and also surgeries, the bone smashing. And actually, we have a lot of like nerve endings and stuff in our face. It's very dangerous. And the the bones around your eyes are really delicate. So if you're like banging things here, and he even talks about things like how do you support your head so you don't get like a concussion or whatever. And and there's really no scientific proof that any of this works. So when I show you these befores and afters, we'll talk about that. Okay. So he named himself clavicular because it refers to the width of your collarbone, right? And it's a highly fixated upon aesthetic in this, it's a trait in this community for some reason, right? Okay, so they're doing lots of things now, like Sleepmaxxing. I'll talk about that in a second. That's what I have there. Sleepmaxxing is basically an obsession where people, no, what I mean is everything's going to maxing now. So Sleepmaxxing is like, I'm only going to use a couple of examples. People are trying to optimize sleep like it's an Olympic event. Instead of just going to bed, people are now using things like mouth tape, magnesium, sleep trackers, cooling blankets, blackout curtains, weighted blankets, yada, yada. According to experts, and I think this is the CNN article, I'll show you in a minute, some of these habits are actually helpful and they fall under basic sleep hygiene, but some of them have taken it to another level and they're using too many. It's a full nighttime performance with gadgets, supplements, and whatnot. And the article basically says that there's nothing wrong with wanting better sleep, but at some point bedtime started looking less like rest and more like a NASA launch sequence. So let me show you that, okay? So these are the pros. And I'm not going to read them all like the whole thing. You can screenshot if you really want to know it, but it's like circadian regularity, which is good, environment optimization, like the temperature, light control, and wind down routines. Okay, so that's good. Yeah, so it did come from the CNN article. So here's the problem. Analyzing sleep stages every morning can lead to a condition called orthosomnia, which is an unhealthy obsession with achieving perfect sleep data. So these are the risk hacks to avoid, okay? Overstacking supplements, mouth taping. They said that could be, I mean, for somebody like me with allergies and stuff, that could potentially be dangerous, I would think. And then chasing 10 plus hours because oversleeping can cause just as much grogginess and long-term health risks as undersleeping. Now, isn't that weird? We learn new things all the time, right? So that is one example. And then I've got another example for you. Are you ready for this one? This is crazy. Okay, so Sylvia says, which I think I'm going to interview Sylvia soon here. This is so crazy. Why? I hear you. But let them talk to me about he will feel after 30 plus. I think you mean like, yeah, so like, I'm not sure people like that would make it that far. Do you know what I mean? It's nuts. Okay, so here's another thing. This is the leg lengthening surgery. Now, this initially was made for kids who had legs one longer than the other, and then they could extend this one so that they would be the same. Okay. It creeps me out so much. I don't have videos or anything. I'm sorry, but it's intense and it can take 6 to 12 months or longer to recover. That's insane. The bones are slowly separated and then they have to rely on crutches or walkers for months. They have to do, and Michelle says, insanity. Exactly. They have to do intense, they have to go through a process that require constant physical therapy and rehabilitation just to help their muscles, nerves, and joints adapt to their new height. So that's what's crazy. Like they literally have to make sure that they do these special exercises and stretching and all of these things. And it is, I don't know. I mean, I guess I should interview someone that's done this and see how it improved their lives. So here's some before and afters. They're obviously not showing faces. So I can't tell the height in this one, but this guy got a lot taller. And then this one went from 5'4.5" to 5'7.5". Okay. And then this is the problem with it, okay, with the leg lengthening ones. Bone healing issues. The bone may fail to harden properly. Nerve and vascular damage. No, thank you. Why would you want to do this to yourself? The risks to me, now this is my opinion, are a lot more insane than the actual benefits. Okay, so joint and muscular contractures. At a bone's length, the associated muscle tendons and ligaments tighten. So then that results in stiffness and a reduced range of motion. So for athletes, that's not good. Infection, hardware failure. It usually requires corrective surgery. And then embolism, which is a rare, serious systemic risk, including deep vein thrombosis, and can be life-threatening. So you tell me, is that something you want to do, right? So I could talk about this ad nauseum, really. I mean, I've been talking a long time tonight. The bigger maxing trend, though, is it's just way beyond the Looksmaxxing. Like I just said, Sleepmaxxing. They've got Gymmaxxing, Healthmaxxing, Fibermaxxing, you name it. Okay. So a lot of the content focuses on your appearance, your body, your energy, your productivity, your activeness, your social status. And some of it can be motivating for sure. But the darker side is that people start treating themselves like unfinished products instead of actual human beings. And so the internet basically took, hey, work on yourself, and turned it into optimize every aspect of your life immediately. So now I'm going to share with you some Looksmaxxing's before and after. So you tell me what you think, okay, about some of these. And here it is. Bored Panda. Okay, I gotta go back to the beginning because I was looking at them. Okay, so here's a guy right here. So that says from bone smashing to chin extensions. The chin extensions, these Looksmaxxing changes are hard to ignore. And so it's really funny because I watch the YouTube sometimes and whatever, and I'm watching this guy in China and he's talking about it. And there's actually people getting these weird implants in their face, and like they're permanent, and some of them are coming through their teeth because they're getting these implants in their nose. It's insane, and it's permanent, and you can't fix it. And then there's people who are their face become altered and like a better. Did you ever see the movie The Substance? It's kind of like that, and you can't go back. So my question is the potential risks, which are horrifying in some situations, worth looking a little bit better for a little while, right? I personally like people that are different looking. I don't need someone to be perfect. I don't care if you're the perfect weight or the height. You know, I'm a tall girl. I used to love, sure, I want to feel tiny and have a big, huge guy, you know, big guy, just carry me around. But I don't care anymore. Like, there's something to be said about maturity. And a lot of these Looksmaxxers, I think, very, very young, like this guy, clavicular is only 20. So it's just sad to me. All right. So now look at these and tell me what you think. Okay. So here's some. So here's the first guy, Baby Stickley. And I did not look these guys up. But in my mind, this guy just looks like he was about 15 in that picture and about 22 in the other picture. He got some better hair, grew some facial hair, better lighting, maybe colored his eyebrows. I don't really see that this is something that, other than like growing up a little bit, you know, this guy, I don't know. It just makes me laugh how how they feel they have to go, like, you know, with their pictures. So I'm going to run through these really quick so you can see them. Okay. Befores and afters. Now this is clavicular. You tell me. Now you can see where he did something to make his eyebrows lower or whatever. His jaw does look more pronounced, but is it just, I think he's had some, you know, fillers and that kind of stuff, but it for the most part, isn't it just kind of growing up? I don't know. Like I said, you tell me. All right, so here's another one. I try to look at these things like, are their mouths the same, their noses, whatever. I mean, they even think about, well, this is extreme. Is this the same guy? Like his eyes look different. So you get the picture, okay? I'm not going to go through all of them. You get the picture. It's crazy. Right? So if you think about it, the research basically, where am I here? Oh, there we are. Okay. If you think about it, the research basically says that self-improvement communities often start with good intentions, becoming healthier, more confident, more disciplined, or more attractive. But online, the line between healthy and growth and obsession, healthy growth. Oh my God, let me start over. But the line between healthy growth and obsession can get blurry really, really fast, especially when self-worth becomes tied to appearance, status, or constant comparison. At some point, improving yourself can quietly shift into a never feeling good enough, no matter how much you optimize or max, right? So personally, I don't think self-improvement's a bad thing. Most people want to feel healthier, stronger, more attractive, more confident. I mean, I don't like the idea of getting older. It sucks. I am older. I'm already there. Right? But the final thoughts in a second here. Michelle says his kids will not reflect his changes. Oh, yeah. Changes, I'm sure what you said. Yeah, exactly. And well, actually, what happened to I love you just the way you are, right? Just the way you are. When she says this, his kids will not reflect the changes. He's done so much damage to his body right now. He doesn't produce testosterone anymore. He is infertile. and he's 20, and he has to use other enhancements in order to have the good times, if you know what I mean. I don't know if this stuff is reversible, but he's 20, you know? I mean, it's insane. So I'm going to give you some final thoughts. It's just a couple, right? Maybe the goal shouldn't be becoming a perfectly optimized human being. Maybe the goal is just becoming a healthier, happier version of yourself without feeling like you constantly need to upgrade. Okay, so this was long. I had no idea. I was like, okay, I'm putting it together. And I could have talked about like a whole bunch of them. But the basic gist is it's out of control. It's costly. It's potentially dangerous. And I love you just the way you are, just like you said, Michelle. So I want you guys to really think about things. And honestly, if you have true friends, they don't care, right? They don't care. I happen to like personality a lot better. If you make me laugh, you're golden, right? So let me just tell you, I want you to like and subscribe because it'll make Sit Squatch and his tiny hiney very happy. He loves you. He says the journey begins with you, so be good to yourself. And this is me, Oregon. I love you. Thanks for joining me for this very interesting topic. I can't wait to see what you guys say about it. I did read these in the stream, but the later comments in the YouTube comments. I'll see you later, guys, next week.